hope you're all well. Finally I'm back with another tutorial in the midst of my packing as I'm moving house, so everything's been really hectic recently. So I'm sorry that I haven't been able to post as regularly as I normally do. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial for something, you know, pretty much neutral with just a little touch of colour. I really don't want to say pop, so I'm just going to say a touch of colour in the inner corner here. Just a little bit of kind of a lavender purple iridescence, nothing too dramatic, and then I added some glitter just for fun, but you can totally miss that step out. And after all the fun New Year's looks, Christmas looks, I thought I'd do something a bit more wearable, minus the glitter of course. So let's get started on the other eye. Now I've already put a little bit of Urban Decay Prime Potion on, and next I'm going to be using coloured base, which is Paint Pot by MAC. I often put the Urban Decay Prime Potion on underneath any paint pots just because if you're wearing them for a long time, like longer than 6 hours, they can crease if you have oily eyelids, so it just really depends on you. Now a few of you requested that I zoom in a bit when I do my videos, so I've zoomed in a little bit more than usual. I don't want to go all the way in, as I used to do that with my older videos and I would go out of frame a lot, so this way I can just about see if I'm still in frame. So the first colour I'm taking just on a flat brush is MAC's Vanilla, and it's just kind of a creamy light colour, nothing too flashy. We're basically keeping all the colours on the lid matte to contrast with the iridescence in the inner corner. I'm just going to pack that on to the first kind of half of the lid. You don't want it to be too stark and pale, it's just to brighten it up, and it also gives a nice base for when we put our colour in. Next I'm taking Steep from MAC, which just looks like that. As you can see, it's just a little bit darker than my skin tone. And I'm taking that with the same brush, just getting some on there, and then putting that about halfway. You can completely miss out this step. I just really like to use this colour for blending, as it's just a little bit darker than my skin tone. So putting it down as a base really helps me blend browns. Next I'm going to take Wedge, which is right there, kind of a medium to light brown. And I'm just going to pop that in the outer corner, just following the same shape as the lower lash line and continuing on, and then kind of swooping it inwards. So you want to just place the same angle like that, and then just brush it in, like that, into the crease. I'm just going to take a blending brush and really blend that all out. Since mattes are notoriously difficult to blend, it can take a little more time with them and you have to have a little bit more patience. But I want this look to be quite natural and really well blended at the top. Next I'm going to take a little bit of Espresso, which is a dark matte brown, and using that with a 226, pick up a little bit with the brush and just use that to define the outer corner of the eye, so the outer V here. We're not cutting a crease or anything like that, we just want it to be a little bit darker just to create a little bit of depth, and also because it's a cool toned brown, it goes really well as a contrast to all the warm browns that we've used so far. Now we're just going to blend it out with our 217. Now for the highlight, I'm just going to use that same colour of the vanilla, and with a large fluffy brush just place a little bit of that, and then start really blending at the edges of the dark brown, just to bring the colour down so it's not quite as dramatic and just really nicely blended. Now on the bottom you can just leave it as it is. I like to always kind of tie in the bottom and the top, so what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of Espresso on the outer corner. I'm just doing that with a 219 brush from MAC, just a small amount, and then in the centre I'm going to pop a little bit of Wedge. And towards the front, a little bit of vanilla. Now for our pop of colour, I'm going to be using a mineral or a pigment from Pure Luxe Minerals, and this is called Purple Aura. Now as you can see, it just looks white, but at certain lights you can catch the purple iridescence. It's basically like a geochrome colour. So I'm going to take that with an e.l.f. small smudge brush. As you can see, this brush is really tiny. So I'm just picking up whatever's in the lid, just the smallest amount, and I'm going to press that in the inner corner. e.l.f. actually have a very similar product to this in their eyeshadow transformer palette. So you can use that if you have it. Although I don't think there's a purple in there, but you can use the blue or the green. There's a gold and a pink. So I'm sure you can, you know, mix a little bit of the pink and the blue, just like that. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up, but hopefully you guys can see what I mean. It really brightens up the eye and adds just, you know, just a little bit more interest. And then you can just leave it at that and put on your liner and mascara. I'm going to add one more step, and that's just to use a little bit of glitter because I'm not quite over my glitter from the holidays. And this is a purple glitter liner in Sleek. This is the lightest purple that they do, and it is their glitter liner in number 275 Rebel. It's a really, really pretty colour. And I'm just going to put the tiniest amount of that just along the lower lash line. I just want there to be a hint of glitter along. I don't want it to be like just a fat line. And when this glitter dries, it just stays like that. So you have to be, you know, fairly quick. I'm going to use the same small smudger brush, and all I'm going to do is just go along that line and smudge the glitter along. This will take off a little bit of the glitter because it will end up on the brush. But I don't mind that because I don't want too much anyway. And the Sleek glitters really deposit quite a lot. It's not one of those glitters that you have to go over the line over and over again. So I really like them. Now I'm just going to add some liquid liner. As usual, I'm using my L'Oreal Super Liner Carbon Gloss. So unfortunately my camera died and ran out of battery, so I had to finish off my eyeliner and put on my lashes off camera. And today for my mascara I used L'Oreal Sealed Architect or Lash Architect, which I don't really rate, I just had some lying around. And then I used e.l.f.'s Dramatic Lashes that I just kind of trimmed a little at the front just so they're not as long, so they look a bit more natural. And on my lips I used a little bit of Fashion Mews from Hello Kitty, which is kind of like a pinky lavender lipstick, just to tie in with that purple iridescence, just a very, very small amount. Because that was limited edition, if you want the same colour you can get Barry M's 129 lipstick. And then on top of that I used the matte cream sheen gloss in Ever So Rich, which again is nothing special, kind of a milky lavender pink, you know, any kind of pinky gloss would do. And on my cheeks is a blush from Temptu called Washed Rose number 403. Looks like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look and do try it out. I think it's perfectly wearable for the day, you know, without the eyelashes and the glitter, just to have a little touch of colour to brighten a matte neutral eye. Thanks so much for watching, and I shall see you all soon. Bye.